So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas, and I hope you're looking forward to a good New Year. And for those of you that are, have been unlucky enough to maybe be isolating over the Christmas, hopefully you're all doing really, really well. It's just it seems to be rampant at the moment. It's everywhere I look here myself as well, and for anybody that's maybe looking for something to listen to while in isolation, hopefully this will comfort you small bit. Now, hopefully you get better very, 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 very soon, because it's not a nice thing to have to overcome. Before we get into anything here, I just want to talk to you guys a small bit about one of our partners, the podcast partners. I've spoken to you guys about these guys before, but they're the Spond app, SPOND. And as we start to get back into activities of sorts, or maybe even if you're cancelling activities, that's a horrible thing to have to say, but unfortunately I've just gotten a text message through that's cancelled something that I was supposed to be participating in tomorrow, outdoors game, but it's now been cancelled. And if you are involved in anything like that, the Spond app is the one for you. It's, I've mentioned it to you guys before. If you're part of an organization or a team, it's a completely free application. You can download it on any iOS or any Android device, and you can utilize it for group messaging, for keeping all your communications, your your events, maybe anything like that, all in one place. And also, as I said, you can accept payments through the application in a safe and efficient manner too as well. So check it out, guys. Go download it now, have a little browse around it. That's the Spond app, SPOND, and I hope you like it, and hope you find very much so the value of it that I found for what I'm doing outside of in my extracurricular activities as well. Paddy, how was your Christmas?
It was very, very, very quiet, which is not a bad thing. Lack of football is a bit of a pain. Would have liked to have all those games on this week. Would have liked to have played Leeds and done all that, but we got one game out of it, and it looks like we're going to have the game at the weekend. So fingers crossed, all going well. We'll have a game to look forward to on Sunday. But yeah, very quiet, very dry actually. Had a couple of drinks Christmas Day and St. Stephen's Day, Boxing Day, and other than that, just took it nice and easy. So still in recovery mode as well. So sympathise with all those that are sick at the moment. So it's no joke and no flu. So look after yourselves.
Yeah, it's been a weird Christmas. As you said, like I had two hot whiskeys, and actually there were cold whiskeys, and there were even whiskey and water. Would you believe? So there were two cold whiskeys, and on Christmas Eve night, I didn't want to, fall asleep on the couch before the big guy came down and came down the chimney and saw me asleep on the couch in my state. So I only had 2 of those, but I haven't had much. We'll wait now until things calm down a bit, and then we'll go buck ape. And I'm sure you'll be doing some team sheet tantrums of me in the smoking area of pubs again in the not too distant future. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Maybe Sunday we'll have an old can open, and we never know. We might get back on after the game Sunday, and
exactly. Do you know what? Yeah, that might be nice.
Have something a little bit more lighthearted than the usual crap we're having to deal with at the moment, because a lot of badness out there. A lot of people worried. So we'll try and keep it lighthearted, and hopefully we'll celebrate the 3 points.
Well, before you make any promises, Paddy, and I'm going to shut my mouth because I can barely remember the game. It's been that long ago. But the Chelsea game, Paddy, let's have a little talk about that. We haven't come back and spoken about anything to do with the Chelsea game.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those games, 3-1 loss. It is what it is. They made some changes. My very, very brief synopsis of it, and I'll let you go ahead hell for leather then afterwards, is we had a very, very good first half. We opened them up when we needed to. We were inefficient with our shooting, very inefficient with our shooting, and sometimes we look scared to shoot, which I think, I'm not going to say is a worry, but it's something it's a hangover from what's happened from the Dean Smith era. Not quite sure whether the strikers are trying to do too much with it, or maybe they're trying to just find positions to pick up the ball, to get on the ball, as opposed to staying in their positions. I haven't looked back at the game. I just haven't had time. Second half, Chelsea made some really good changes. like it's not often that I'm going to sit here and say, like, we've made changes in the past when we've to certain things that teams have done, specifically under Steven Gerrard, and we've gone on and it's had a positive impact. I think Chelsea made changes, not just bringing on Lukaku, but to their formation as well, which got the best out of their team. And we found it difficult to come to terms with that. And like, it's not always going to work where we're going to make a change and nullify a team. So there are going to be games where teams do to us what we've done to the likes of Norwich, what we've done to the likes of Brighton and so on over the course of Steven Gerrard's tenure. And I think that's really what happened. Plus the fact they brought on €100 million world-class striker who is like a bullock and could probably in the morning lace up and fight Tyson Fury and give him a good 6 or 7 rounds of it, you know? So that's my synopsis. Go for it, Paddy. What was your?
What do you want me to say now after your synopsis?
Well, my synopsis is very small. I'm sure you're going to be able to think of the more nuanced parts of it.
Well, look, I suppose first and foremost, I'm not too disappointed about it. It was expected. Couple of errors in there, which have ultimately cost us, I thought. It was again a game of two halves, but the opposite to what we're used to. We haven't been starting great, and we've been finishing better, and this one has been the complete opposite. But I put that completely down to number one, Lukaku changed everything when he came on. By the way, Thomas Tuchel has just been proved to be an absolute spoofer after absolutely making an idiot out of himself by saying it was a big risk to play him for 45 minutes against Aston Villa. Plays him for a full 90 minutes last night. So Thomas Tuchel, full of shit. Finished with him, done. Good luck.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that him and some of the big six have come out with over the last 3 or 4 days has just been incredible. Anyway,
I agree with some of them. Actually, let's deviate a small bit because I'm sure people are sick to death hearing about Chelsea. Actually, go for it. Finish off your Chelsea synopsis. Remind me to come back about some of the stuff that's been said recently.
Well, look, there's not much of a synopsis. You know, we went ahead rather fortuitously. Mistake by Matty Cash for the penalty.
Bad mistake.
Could see why he did it. He shouldn't have dived in. Definitely shouldn't have dived in. There was no danger in that position. Albeit he had to cut the ball out for going across, but dive in like that was a bit silly. The second goal then, Mings unfortunately was trying to direct Matty Target by the looks of it because he took his eyes completely off his own man, and Lukaku just jumped in front of him and got the header, whereas Ming should have been concentrating on the header. Yeah. And you know, we've seen this before with a number of our players. You can't let the player run across you like that. You've got to go and do your own job, and stop worrying about everyone else. When the ball is in play, if the ball is out for a corner and you're directing people around, that's fine. But when that ball is coming across and you're looking at Matty Target, you've already lost it.
The thing with that second goal, and I know I said I shut up, but like, come on, it's it never usually happens. It's just like, this will be 20-minute podcast, just those two things never really correlate together. But like the big thing there is that even at whatever level, if you have any basic understanding of physics, if he gets momentum, if Lukaku gets momentum, and you're trying to knock him off stride, best of luck with it. Like, he's like a thoroughbred racehorse. Yeah. You know, like there was no, and you could see he was trying to arse him out of the way, but there was no way you were going to stop him. He was in full flight at that stage. And look, who's to say if Mings goes up for the header, he doesn't stick it anyway? You know, Lukaku doesn't stick it anyway. It's just the optics of it, I think, is more so than anything else. And I hate that phrase. Feel free to give out to me in the comments if I ever say that again, along with Stevie G. They're the two things that I really don't like. But it just didn't look great, I don't think.
Yeah. It's it's done and dusted. It's done and dusted. We have to bring it up and I have to mention it. Also, if someone gets a chance to look at the third penalty decision from behind the goal, I invite you to have a look. I'm not going to give you any steer, but just watch as Konza goes to make the challenge where he is struck first, and it was actually sent to me by a referee, and it's a really, really. I know you could see totally why the penalty was given, but it wasn't looked at, and if it had been looked at, the initial contact is actually with the arm of Lukaku across Konza, which puts him to the ground. And look, the game was over at that stage. We were completely stretched, hoping to try and get a draw out of it. And let's not forget, we've lost our manager on the touchline So
Yep.
we were already on the back foot. So I'm completely and utterly fine with the result.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing for me is that when we look back, we've had no draws. Is 7 games, 3 defeats and 4 wins, and the 3 defeats being against Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool. Hold my hands up and go. If we're doing that, if we're doing that for the whole season, we're pushing for Europe. But we don't want to be back to the position where we can't pull results out of the bag like we did against.
Absolutely, no point beating a Chelsea United or whatever if we go away and we lose to, no offense to the likes of Brighton and those, but we have to start and beat the teams around us. That was the biggest problem under Dean Smith. Do you want some good news, Paddy?
I like good news.
In your head changed man says the Old Moors Almanac 2022 have predicted Aston Villa to win the Premier League. Now, does anybody want a completely pointless and silly story about the Old Moors Almanac that I can tell you about one of my situations? I was actually dying sick one day, and I was of school age, so I was actually sick. I think of bronchitis or something like that. And I rang into a national radio station, a national radio station here in Ireland called Today FM. And basically, if you rang in and you told them an amazing fact that they'd never heard of before, that you would win a copy of Old Moore's Almanac. I think it was like 2007 or something like that. And I rang into the Ray Darcy show and I told them that one in every 250 men can trace their lineage back to Genghis Khan. And they gave me a copy of Old Moore's Almanac. So for no other reason, I just wanted to bring up the Old Moore's Almanac post. But thanks very much in your head change, man. Really appreciate the donation as well. But yeah, so
I have not heard of the Old Moore's Almanac in a long time, so I have no idea. Is that they've predicted we're going to win it this year? Because I reckon they may have that.
I'd say the 2022 year means next year that we're going to win it. Next year.
Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
I back us every year to win it, and Paddy Power love taking my money.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I backed him every year. One of these years it will come true. And we hope for the best. I just got to clear something up as well before we move on and I lose it. Thomas says, you remember a lot of time for Klopp, Paddy. Okay, what I said about Klopp was...
Oh, and remember, you can go back in the podcast and listen back to this as well, just in case. Keep him honest. Keep him honest.
What I said about Klopp was, I have the greatest respect for him as a winner. He never rubs our noses in it, and he's had a number of occasions to do it. He's been really, really good to Aston Villa over the years. The one I brought up was the time they put 6 past us, I think, when we were relegated, and the interviewer after the game was like, "Oh, that was brilliant, wasn't it?" and blah blah blah. And he said, "This is not the time for singing songs and celebrating." He said, "There's a huge club called Aston Villa who are going through a really tough time, and you won't be getting any responses like that out of me." And he's been that way even this season when they hammered Man United. He was exactly the same. So for that reason, I have respect for him. But a lot of them are, I noticed that it was Pep, was it last night, talking about Paul Tierney? They seem to have their claws into Paul Tierney because Klopp had to go off him at the weekend and got no sanctions against him. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Was it Pep? Yeah. It was one of the greedy 6 went on about Paul Tierney. And the one thing about Paul Tierney is he apparently said to Klopp, "Your players are jumping in front of the tackle and drawing penalties, and that's why you didn't get the penalties." And Paul Tierney, if he said that, do you know what? He went up in my estimation because that's exactly what's happening. It happened to us. But by all ways of looking at it, it's a penalty, but that's exactly what they're doing it. So there you go.
We'll see if look. We could be here till we're blue in the face. We're ending 2021 nearly as we started 2021 after the Rodri goal and the Pogba penalty. Like the Pogba penalty, I think, was New Year's Day, and we're still talking about stuff like that then on the 30th of December. So it's yeah.
Well, I watched Liverpool the other night, and I can't remember who the commentator was, but I actually made a note of what he said. The business of drawing a penalty was the art of game management.
Yeah.
Now, for the other 14,
me a break.
For the other 14 clubs, that's cheating. That's diving. That's buying a penalty. That's what Gary Neville would say. That's what Jamie Carragher would say. So, just I hope I've cleared up my point about Klopp. That's what I like about him. He never rubs salt into the wounds when he's after getting a good win, and he was very good against when they beat our kids at the beginning of this year. So, that's my sole reason for having some respect for him.
Right, we're going to leave referee talk there because I
Because
just
there's
don't
no
have
need.
it in me. Just don't have it in me. Just don't have it in me. And VAR talk and Chelsea talk. But we're coming towards my favorite part of the season. Well, no, it's not my favorite. My favorite part of the season was when every time Aston Villa wins. But one of the times of the season where I dust off the old binoculars and start looking at players and trying to figure out who I think would be a good fit for the team. We've got transfer season coming up, and I see that Dermot was asking about Aaron Hickey, that there are rumors today about Aaron Hickey from Bologna. Obviously, we were interested in him when he played with Hearts. Steven Gerrard was in the Scottish Premier League when he played with Hearts, so you would imagine that there is a mutual understanding of at least of what he can do at the moment. He's obviously a very, very new age fullback, and without giving too much away, I'm going to be doing a piece on him tomorrow, like the old ones I did on likes of Pape Matar and Czech Doucouré and all these beautiful people that never ended up at Aston Villa. They never signed. I was so close with Pape Matar. I'm so close because even though he went to Spurs, I know we were sniffing around. I know we were sniffing around him at some stage, whether it was this transfer window or whatever. I know we were. So I'm so close at that one. But
I think this one is a realistic target, and the reason is it's been around for a while, and apparently it's Johan Lange's target. So I would imagine that Steven Gerrard is on top of it and knows exactly what this young lad has to offer. He is huge potential in this kid. Celtic made a big boo-boo and let him go back to Hearts, and then tried to buy him for multiples of what they let him go for, and then tried to sign him before he went to Bologna. So there's better people than you and me know exactly what this guy can do. I don't think we'll be the only ones in the mix for it. So it's going to be a tough one to sign. But he would be one of the top of my priorities at this stage. I think we need cover a full back on both sides. I think if the rumours are to be believed about Axel Tuanzebe, that
was my next one.
We might need a centre half, and the one that's gathering pace there is Pau Torres. If that's going to be a signing,
another person I've got a bit done on as well.
Yeah, I said a bit to you earlier in the week that I didn't know a whole lot about him. I just wish I had time to be watching the amount of football that I used to when I was childless, let's say.
Get yourself an 8-week-old child. They're the best things in the world. You're up at all hours of night trying to comfort them, and instead of listening to them cry, you might as well be looking at stupid YouTube clips.
That all changes, Neil, when you become a taxi man and have to bring them everywhere.
Yeah. Well, so buy an autonomous car. Buy a car that drives itself and you can watch. That's the next thing. So look, Paddy, excuses are for the week. Excuses are for the week. But Pau Torres, that's somebody. Like going back to Aaron Hickey. Aaron Hickey, I'm hoping. I'm very much hoping. And look, he's a really young kid. He's only like 19 or 20, I think. But I'm hoping that when he went out to Italy, he got a very stern education. In a very stern education in defending, and I hope that is something that that he got, because while he was like he's a good left back, and Scottish League level he was a very, very good left back. You don't play for Hearts, I think, when you're only 16. You know, getting in there at that age, no matter what league you're in, is a tough gig. But you know, there's defending, and then there's defending at Premier League level, and we've all seen it. So I like the fact that he's gone to the likes of Bologna. He's gone to a mid-level team. He could have stayed out at Hearts. He could have gone to Celtic and could have learned no defending, zero defending, because all they would have done is they would have said, right, we're going to look at our two centre halves, try and let our centre halves just cover absolutely everything, and we just want you to go beeline up the wing and do what you do best.
Yeah,
into a mid-level, like his agent. His agent is a canny man, I think, and sending him to a mid-level Italian team might be absolutely, you know, he might even want to move from them for another year, you know. And I think that if Aston Villa do bid for him, it might be a case like, we'll buy you in January, but you won't actually move to us until June, because the education.
I disagree with you there, because I think we need him. I think we need cover. That's the reason why I think this is one that could really get done very quickly. But yes, I totally agree with what you're saying about him being in Italy. I think if you want to make a player a better defender, that is exactly the league you send him to, because we all know that that's the most offensive league in the world. It's the lowest scoring league in the world. I don't know whether that's statistically. That's just the way I am when I'm watching games. So look, it's for me, it's a no-brainer to bring a guy in at 19 to develop him a little bit further with the people he has around him. So it's not one that I would delay until the summer. I'd like to get him in there.
I wouldn't do it.
And it's worth mentioning as well, he has played some time at central midfield, the central defensive midfield. So does that put him on two stools for us? Maybe. I don't like
want him
doing
in two
that.
stools.
I don't like doing that for players.
Nope.
I think it's a case that he comes in and fights for a spot, and if he overthrows Matt Target because he's a better player, so be it.
He's not coming in to play defensive midfield, lads, because the next person that we're going to talk about.
I know that he can, and he has done in the past. But
yeah,
if we're buying him as a left back, 100%.
Because the next person we want to talk about that has been, well, there's been tentative rumors, and I've seen it more than once, is Oriol Romeo from Southampton. Now, no, is he the most sexy signing? No. Is he a pair of old boots that you go out into when you're doing that yard work? He absolutely is. Every time I think since we started this podcast that we've done the Southampton preview, I've spoke about this guy turns into absolute, Paul McGrath 1994 versus Italy against us, and his defensive work he does against us is always just brilliant. He's just knows where to be, and if he's someone who can come in and take 15, 20 games, because he's not going to he's not exactly he's somebody who can come in and play that defensive midfielder role. Is he a sexy signing? No. Is he someone that can plug a gap for a couple of years and is an intelligent head in around there? I think so. But he's very, very one-dimensional. Very one-dimensional. And he could be somebody that Southampton fans might look at and say, are we too disappointed to see him leave? I don't know. But I think that we're going to see a couple of players like that will come in that people might look at them and go, oof, Jesus, I wouldn't have signed him. But I think they're going to be system players because, spoiler alert, Steven Gerrard and Michael Beale have a system.
They sure do. I just feel like we've spoken about this guy too many times. I honestly don't know if it'll be my choice. I think we need a better player than him. If we were to sign him cheaply, I'd be okay with it. But the kind of money that they'd go looking for, I think I'd be kind of worried.
And I think this is like Richard says here. I'm not of the belief we need a defensive midfielder. Nakamba hardly got a game before we can manage his return, and I think that's why somebody like this will be brought in, is because I think they see something in Nakamba, and I think they'll be. I think that also getting on to what we're going to talk about next about the Axel Tuanzebe piece. Axel Tuanzebe has come on in the defensive midfielder role. And let's just say United recall him. Apparently they can recall him and he gets flagged off to Napoli, is it? I think Napoli is looking to buy him. That could leave us really up, excuse my French, but that could leave us up shit creek without a paddle in two aspects of our team there. But someone like Oriol Romeo, I don't know what he's going to cost. I just know that he does some things really, really, really well, but he's incredibly one-dimensional. I
think you'd expect to pay 12 or 15 million without even thinking about it.
Would you know?
I can't see us getting a Premier League defensive midfielder any cheaper. That's just my opinion on it. I don't know what they value him at, but you would imagine
maybe.
I don't know. A lot of money.
It is a lot of money. But look, it's a lot of money 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Players are moving around for like that. It's essentially chicken feed. It is, I suppose, when you think about it, if you were to pay 12 million for him or 10 million for him, it is backup money for one of the better players, or the better teams, and every team, if you think about it, every team has that old hard grafter in there now, it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be pretty interesting to see if they do go for him or if it is just, just talk. Like, he's played 17 times this season in the league. Like, Southampton probably aren't going to want to let him go anyway. My choice is something completely off the wall and have a piece done on him. And I will release it in a couple of weeks.
People love these off the wall pieces. I look forward to it, Neil. We'll see who it is.
Yeah. Well, It's when I say off the wall, yeah. Anyway, what else do we have? We were linked to someone else. Gabby Gall. We were linked to Gabby Gall, Paddy. Load of bullshit, or actually might happen.
Possibly. I'm open to anything.
Possibly to both.
Possibly we'd sign him. The other guy hasn't gone away either. Alvarez, is that his name? Julian Alvarez.
Yes, yeah, Julian. Oh, there's big fish circling around him at the moment because can't stop scoring now. I think we missed the boat in
we possibly did, but it hasn't gone away. But we've spoken a lot there, and we haven't even really spoken about Pau Torres. But it's looking at a window where we're either going to spend very little or we're going to spend a lot. So it depends what Stevie G thinks we need to spend. And there I go, I said Stevie G, and I promised I'd never say it. But anyway, it's better than me calling him Slippy.
It's a one-pod ban. Yeah. But it'll be interesting because it was said before, like Steve or Dean Smith didn't really like spending a lot of money in January. Whether that was a Johan Lange thing, I suppose we will find out now. I suppose like if you're in a situation where the manager and the director of football are in tandem with regards to spending money, why not spend it? Because it may not be there in the summer. You
got to ask yourself, does the strikers we have do the job that Steven Gerrard and his team want to do? Because at the moment, I don't think that's the case. And I think, the dimension of signing a striker is a huge possibility. I think it's something they might just go out and do, and it'll be completely out of left field. We know we've been linked with a couple, but there's not, depending on what they have to spend, they could really overhaul this team in the next few weeks.
I don't think they're going to overhaul the team, but I think that we could see three players come in. Do you know what? The more we're talking about it, literally the only position I think that we can't gaffer tape at the moment, if we had a long-term injury, is actually striker. And it's a complete another about turn for me, because we would have said, oh, Danny Ings can go up there on his own, Watkins can go in there. I just haven't seen it. Like, I think if Watkins gets injured, I'm not quite sure who we will put. Like, Ings obviously goes up top, but is what I'm going to say there. Great work rate, Neville. Don't get me wrong. I'm not anti Danny Ings. He's barely played and he's been injured for quite a while. Maybe he comes good, but like, let's just say Ings picks up an injury. Are we going back to the days of Keenan Davis? Are we really going back there? Cameron Archer, maybe. Yes, is he? Yeah. Actually, Cameron Archer is probably a good shout. I completely forgot about him.
But the worrying thing about Cameron Archer is he doesn't seem to have had a decent look in with Steven Gerrard. Bearing in mind that our strikers haven't exactly been setting the world on fire.
He did sign a new 4-year contract though, so yeah, I suppose taking that into account, there is something there with him. With like Steven Gerrard had to have had a say in that. Like that's not just forced upon him. Imagine, but
and it could be protecting a transfer fee as well. So
yeah,
who knows? Yeah,
it could be protecting a transfer fee too as well, because I would imagine
there could be an opening there to maybe loan in a striker. That's a possibility.
Oh, Jesus!
Rather than spending big money, because like they're not exactly setting the world alight, and that's what's worrying me. Is Archer still our top scorer? He couldn't be far off it.
He is our top scorer.
Yeah. But look, we're not a million miles away from where we want to be. So it's just about assessing what we need to do to keep us on that upward trajectory. If we're going the way we are, and continue to go the way we are, we will be thereabouts for European places. But what worries me is if we start to lose players through injury and suspension, have we got adequate backup? We spoke before. We don't have a right back capable of stepping in there right now. We like to think that Kane Kessler-Hayden will do that when he comes back in. Maybe even Freddie Gilbert, whatever that is. We don't have an adequate cover at left back. As good as Ashley Young is, I would rather there be a younger person in there. Plus, he's done very well for us further up the pitch as well since Steven Gerrard came in. So, from what we've said, there's an opening there for maybe 5 signings. But realistically, in January, you only want to see 2 or 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in an ideal world, yeah, there is. But I think we will sign 1 or 2 players. Look, Stephen Gerrard has more or less come out and said that we need that our full back positions we need at least cover there. You know, do they bring back? I don't think they bring back Ian Kessler Hayden. You know, he's just like he's getting lots and lots of game time at Swindon.
Yeah,
and
maybe
they bring back Freddie Gilbert. Maybe they bring back.
It makes absolute sense for paying Kessler Hayden to get a full season under his belt. We don't know if there's an option even to recall the likes of Freddie Gilbert. And is he out of contract? He's another year, has he? After this,
I don't know.
I lost complete track of that one now.
I would imagine that. I think you might have it. Talk amongst yourselves there. I'll just Google it.
Well, I just the thoughts in my head with him would be, if we can recall him now, and use him as the backup and bring him on after an hour if we've the game done and dusted, protect Matty Cash, and then
the contract on the 30th of July 2022.
Okay, so we can well, either 2 things going to happen: we recall him, or that's the end of him. We'll never hear from him again because
he's after getting in the team of the year, the team of the year so far in Ligue 1.
Yeah, but you just can't see how Gerrard is going to trust him with a new contract if he hasn't an opportunity to see him play in the Premier League again.
That's true. It is really interesting to see what will happen in January. And sometimes you go into January and you're thinking, will we sign someone? We might sign someone. We need someone, but I don't know. Will we sign someone? I think we will sign people this January. I think, but like there may be the likes of we might sign Oriol Romeo, and people might be going, what the fuck do we sign this person for? But as I say, I think there might be some system signings in there. From that point of view, but I don't know. As I say, I'm being pretty vague. I've got about 4 or 5 transfer pieces done that I'm going to release over the next couple of weeks. As I say, Aaron Hickey, got a piece done on him, and Oriol Mangala from Stuttgart, who I think would be absolutely excellent for Aston Villa. There you go. I ruined the surprise. That was the person. That was the left field person I was looking at. I just think he's really, really good. Belgian under 21 player. If we're not going to sign Czech Doucouré, which it doesn't look like we are going to, and Patrick Berg, my other favourite, is now going to Lens for 4 million or something mental like that, like some crazy chicken feed. That's a guy that I really, really like, Patrick Berg. But c'est la vie, not going to be coming to Aston Villa on his way to Lens. But it's a fun time. Look, we're going to talk about people that will never come. We're going to talk about people we just think are good players, and we're going to sign who we sign because none of us have a crystal ball. But it just, as you said, Paddy, we started off the podcast and we said we wanted to kind of lighten the mood a small little bit and talk about stuff that may or may not happen, and that's really what today's podcast is about. It's blind speculation everywhere that you see. But one thing that isn't blind speculation, Paddy, sorry.
And as we always say, there's a lot of youngsters there that we can call upon. We're just missing a few in a couple of vital positions, I think. So let's not forget about them either, because they're very important to our club.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that isn't idle speculation, Paddy, is the fact that all hail ZFC, ZEDFC, our new partner club in Egypt. So it looks like the Sawiris brothers have got together over Christmas, and they decided, wait a minute, don't you want a club in Egypt, and don't you want a club in Birmingham? Yeah, we just team them together. Yeah, sure, why not? But it looks like there is going to be some sort of feeder club arrangement there, and it's going to be pretty expedited because it looks like there's going to be some players coming over from Egypt even as soon as January to get a taste of what the Aston Villa Academy is like. Purslow has spoken about this before, that they wanted to get a foothold in certain markets to try and hoover up some talent or to see what's there. And this specific club, 2021, won the best academy in Africa. So why not start as you mean to continue on? what's your views on the Paddy? Look, it's not going to like the share price of Aston Villa isn't going to go through the roof over this announcement overnight,
No.
but it might be something that we might look back on and see, the strategic alliances that Aston Villa are, and this is where it all started.
And I think my overriding emotion, and I messaged you yesterday when I heard the news about ZFC, is that to me this just enforces the fact that the owners are in there for the long haul. This is all just part of a jigsaw that will come together. And what I want to see is stability. I want to see the likes of ZFC, being our club, our feeder club. The fact that in not next year, but the year after, we're going to possibly see the Las Vegas Villains come on board. And, I think all of this aligning together sees a bright future for the club. And once we can just push on each year, we're so close to those European spots. And even if it is Conference League, it's European football. It's the players we have getting European football. It's keeping them happy. It's keeping them interested. It's keeping them wanting to play for Aston Villa. I think if we got European football, there'd be nobody talking about our big players leaving. There'd be nobody talking about John McGinn leaving or Emi Martinez going to whoever he's been linked with this week. So that's what I want. I want European football. I want the owners to be committed to the long term. And hearing news like this only enforces in my mind that I'm completely happy and content with the way the club is going.
It is interesting, and I think that it's the dual arm of call me a seasoned football manager, player, or whatever, but like the Las Vegas Villains is clearly not like that's just going to be a money making venture. That's going to be a branding exercise to bring money in through sponsorship from the States. That's strategic, is what I would call. That's financially strategic. But the ZFC one is for sure. Like all respect to the Egyptian second division, of which they're top of the league. But like there isn't going to be Egyptian money flowing into the club because we're part of ZFC. But and it just goes to show the grown up nature of this club in general. And they've mentioned this, I wouldn't be surprised to see us have, academies or have teams with good academies based in Southeast Asia, wherever you throw a dart at the world, and that's essentially what Purslow said, that they wanted to grow this, that this isn't the case whereby, look, if the lads don't get into Europe in the next 2 or 3 years' time, the owners are going to feck off. It looks like that. And we have to think about this as well, that these two lads are, like this has been a retirement fund. You have to kind of like both of them are in their 60s. They don't exactly need to work for their money. Their money's going to come in regardless. This is a bit of like if they can turn around something like this is legacy, like Edens has done with the Milwaukee Bucks. This is almost legacy stuff that they will be able to do. Now, whether they believe in the Aston Villa project that much to want a legacy, but why wouldn't you want a legacy in one of the world's most economically rich countries, and a team that formed the league in the second city of one of the world's richest countries. So, there could be that kind of, like, we often say that this is a vanity project for me and you, but, if you've got a vanity project for people who work bazillions of dollars, that can be quite a fun thing to be a part of. So, I suppose people said the same thing about the Qataris and about the lads who own Man City. Like, what do they really get out of this? But it's pure vanity, They don't get a lot out of it other than legacy and being able to turn around and, well, I won't say, but it's something for them. It's a hobby, it's a hobby horse.
Yeah.
So
and look, it's I think in your title you have a global domination. Is that what you're opening it?
Yeah.
And that's not just pie in the sky. This is something we have to look towards. When we signed Trezeguet a few years ago, we looked at the interest in our club in that region go absolutely through the roof. It also happened when we signed Samata. Obviously, that didn't work out. But I'm just showing you the relevance. You look at the likes of Celtic signing Kyogo from Japan. Celtic have apparently sold more shirts in Japan than they have in Scotland, which is absolutely off the wall. So all of these things are all about making money, generating belief and interest in your club. And when you look at the people who've won the Premier League over the last whatever the 20 years Premier League now, we have the biggest heritage of anyone in the Football League. We should be up there and about it. We have a story to tell. You've got Man City attracting players from all around the world with no history. A few leagues here and there, a few FA Cups, but no history. Just a soulless bowl of empty seats. So why can't we grow? Why can't we build that North Stand? Why can't we have a 55,000 seater stadium full to capacity week in, week out? So this is all a part of that jigsaw falling into place. And if we can go to Egypt and find the next Egyptian Messi, or if we can go to Las Vegas and get a child out of there that suddenly becomes best player in the world, this is what we've got to envisage is the way forward. And the next step then is look at the Far East, look at South America, and as I said, I'm enthused by how this is all coming together. It's making me really excited.
It has to, because Copy with the Days of Deadly Doug, when we were hoping that people bought more package holidays on any given May, June, or July before we were able to actually sell or buy players, because we were run in conjunction with his. Well, I know that's a bit disingenuous considering he was out of that game by.
Well, look, it was as tight as 500,000 not being able to spend extra on Robbie Keane.
And I still think if we signed Robbie Keane, anyway. Beside the point.
Well, these are all sliding doors moments that we've missed out on over the years, and I know financial fair play is probably hampering us at the moment, and we've got to look at it very well. But we've got very classy, clever people involved in the club now that will look at generating money from all angles.
Yeah, and even people behind the scenes that we don't know about. Like our chief operating officer, our chief financial officer, and all that. They're all people who've come from really good backgrounds, that have been brought into the club because they're just great operators. It's as simple as that. So kudos to them. The unseen people are the people that we only ever see whenever there's a eToro or somebody has, and that's about whoever it is. Purity Ale have re-upped their sponsorship, and the CFO comes out and talks about that. So we only ever see their names there, but they're the people who are going out there doing the deals for a lot of this stuff, and then everybody associates that then with the management and the chairmanship and stuff like that as well. So the unsung heroes behind the scene are doing their jobs as well. There was one in here. Thanks very much, guys. Really, really appreciate that, man. Thanks a million.
Good,
I will be. I was going to say I'm going to fill my boots on Christmas Eve, but I don't think I will. Or New Year's Eve, should I say? I don't think I will, because I'm nowhere to go. So it's. I'm very much a guy. If I sit down and I say, right, I'm going to have 10 cans tonight at home, I'll drink one and I'll go, it's no fun. I wish I was out in the pub. That's kind of the way I am. So it's never. It never ends very well, or it always ends very, very early if I sit down and have a beer watching a match, because I have one and I go, don't really want any more now. There's no one here to bounce off. So I'm very much a crack merchant.
Except when you message me and start winding me up with your few beers on you.
Excuse me, no, I message you and wind you up when you've got beers on you. That's what I do. Yeah. So, lads, this has been very cathartic today. Thanks a million for stopping by and taking a listen to us. We only decided about half an hour before we went on that we'd pop on. We will be back tomorrow with a Brentford preview. I think we'll do it tomorrow, Paddy. Just be easiest to be Friday, and then people will have the weekend to marinate on it. I'm not expecting anything from it. Will we get a press conference with Stephen Gerrard tomorrow?
Might do, I'd say. Yeah, I would imagine. Well, it could be a virtual one. I think he's due back in the training ground tomorrow, isn't he? Tomorrow, Friday?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, track of days.
I think he's due back Saturday. I think it's one of these ones that's almost literally like he just gets in on the day before. But it'll be. He could
do it virtually though, or could leave it to Gary Mack.
But absolutely.
I'm sure we'll see. But you know what? It could be Saturday too. Just no way. You presume it'll probably be tomorrow, but we'll know soon enough.
And as I tweeted earlier on, the club whenever the club tweet and I get the notification say AVFC official at AVFC official have tweeted, I go, oh Jesus, who's positive now? And I'm terrified to click on it to see what's going on. So thankfully today it's only been about goal of the month. I can live with that. I can live with goal of the month, but I can't live with 10 players are now positive, because that would break my spirit at the moment. Gary Mack said he's back Friday. Good news. Good news. Good news. Good stuff, guys. Let's
before we wrap it up, Neil, just apologies to everybody about the team sheet tantrum the other day. We had some issues and you couldn't get on, and then I was booted out and got back in and then had to cut it short. But hopefully we'll have the two of us on board for Sunday.
That. Yeah, I meant to apologize at the top of the show. Listen, look, I was traveling. It was the only time I got to see my parents over Christmas. So it was. I thought the game was on at 3:00, and then as it turned out, it was on at 5:30. So I planned on getting in there from the car, but as you know, the potato-powered internet here in Ireland just wouldn't allow it happen. So apologies about that. But we will be back with the team sheet tantrum this Sunday, and I will be here in situ on my throne in this very office, and so will Paddy, and we'll be back with Team Sheet Tantrum. But first of all, as I say, we'll do a preview tomorrow, and then over the next few weeks we'll have some transfer bits and pieces coming out as well, which I'm really, really looking forward to doing, because if nothing else, it takes my mind off everything else that's going on, and I enjoy it. It's a bit of fantasy stuff, so I really, really enjoy it. Thanks very much, lads. Thanks very much to everybody. I hope you have a great new year. Even though we'll be back tomorrow, we probably wish you a happy new year again. Have a doubly happy new year tomorrow when we wish it to you again. But have a great evening and stay safe. And we'll chat to you tomorrow. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.